going to skip this black screen thing because I don't think it's a very engaging start to a video. But actual Justice Warrior does, who made the video. It's called Mom Donnie Goes Mask Off, but I was just about to skip through, and I heard this, so I have to play it for you too, YouTube audience.
Previously on Dragon Ball Z.
Everything is just, it's so cringe. The fascists are cringe. I don't know why. Like, this is the kind of dork that ideologically right now, the things he thinks are being put into place as policy because a bunch of lead chip eating boomers have gained power. You think that was an AI voice prompter? Great. That's cringe. Anyway, this guy's cringe. Buckle up for whatever cringe ass shit he's gonna say. I'm gonna speed him up because his video is almost a half an hour long, and I just don't want to spend that much time watching him. Let's do 1.5, guys. Let's be bad.
On top of everything else, you know 100% after he gets into office, if we are ever unfortunate enough for that to happen, he is going to pull a Sadiq Khan, where you run as this progressive, this absolute person who's not all that concerned with religion and whatnot, but then once you get into office, you start bitching and moaning about Islamophobia all over the place.
So this is where we're starting. On Mom Donnie Goes Mask Off. Not this guy.
This is the pattern that we see from these types of progressive candidates that also happen to be Muslim, even though they downplay their religious affiliation prior to getting into office, but as soon as they're there, that becomes the key component of their identity.
This guy is a Christian, and I don't think you're any fucking different from a Muslim, frankly. I think Christians are exactly the same. They just do their terrorism in a different way. They might not be willing to, do the famous acts of terrorism, like blow up planes and like die in the process, or like have bombs or whatever strapped to them, but they'll fucking go into holy war and die as a soldier with bullets and knives and be right up in. I don't know what the difference is functionally. Just like you're less brave than a Muslim, I guess. Like you're less convicted than Muslim terrorists, I suppose. But of course, if you're a Muslim, you're a terrorist. This is what they do. So I, as an anti-theist, am less extreme than just how religions treat each other. I have learned this over the years because I'm an anti-theist. I think religion is actively bad for you. It's not benign. It's obviously a bad thing. It's a delusion that people use as a poor basis of thought, and then from that foundation, everything fucking fractures. You can watch the fucking web of thought from the very idea of like God controls everything, and I'm a sinner. It just goes crazy. It's a domino effect. It's so harmful. That said, I don't think like Mom Donnie being a Muslim, like coming from a Muslim culture, like an Islamic culture, like every policy he advocates for is secular in nature, and he seems to have a clear delineation between those things in his head and his rhetoric and his policy as a member of the city council and everything. I think it's fine. We can have diverse thought. I don't even fucking agree with him. I think it's bad. I would prefer if Zohran Mamdani was an atheist. He would be my perfect candidate if he was an atheist, but he's not. And that's just the coalitions we got going on. I'd be happy to have leftists actually hear me out on another foundation of hierarchy that is dog shit, and that would be religion. I think they need to understand the bad systems that we place ourselves in are the reasons we're in the problem. Is the reason we're having the problem. It's the systems, because humans are too stupid. Like, we'll just follow a system. We'll just do it. We overestimate ourselves and underestimate ourselves at the same time. We just don't have enough, like, there's not enough people with the pulled back view on humanity that I have. But also, like, the scientific community, most people that, like, understand evolution, that we're animals and stuff. Like, once you have that perspective, it's like, wow, we could just have systems in place that everybody can follow, that don't harm them, and then they can have their freedom exterior of that, including religion, even though I'm against it. I don't think we should institutionalize it. Anyway, that's where I stand on Islamophobia and the religion of Islam. So let's hear how he's scared of Mom Donnie for as long as we can stand it.
6 years ago, shortly after I announced I was running for assembly, a well-meaning Muslim uncle pulled me aside. He smiled softly and looked at me with care.
Can I just mention this small little tidbit here, just because there's a mini controversy going on right now, where, not even a controversy, they're trying very hard to get any dirt on Zohran Mamdani because he's obviously crushing this, and they're just trying anything they can do at this point, try to prevent the inevitable. And they're saying, oh, he called someone his aunt, but it's actually her cousin. He just did this to just a guy in his community, he just calls him an uncle. Like, this is just such a cultural thing. Anyway, it's just more racism.
In a quiet voice, he told me I did not have to tell people I was Muslim. His eyes kind, his beard proud, and his face heavy with the implication of the unsaid.
All I have to
Yeah, man, that's real.
say to you guys out there in the audience is that I 100% called it, predicted it, basically wrote the script for this moment for Zohar Mamdani, because I said very early on during this mayoral campaign that this guy was going to pull a Sadiq Khan, basically run as the most left-wing progressive guy for as long as he can, and then eventually, when he has the race pretty much locked down, which make no mistake about it, with early voting already happening right now, he's going to win the race for New York City mayor.
Dude, I know I sped this up a little bit, but his, like, the timbre in his voice, the panic, he's like, a socialist is gonna, oh God, it's a socialist. So here's the thing that they're scared of, and is the thing that they've always been scared of. This is why Vietnam fucking happened in Korea. Like, anytime, and everything in South America, including right now, anytime socialism gets a foothold of power, they get really fucking scared. Like the powers that be, they're really fucking scared because they know it's gonna work. And it does work every single time, because we need stuff. You don't need to commodify everything, decommodify necessities, and suddenly the whole world fucking blooms. But what that does is it disturbs and disrupts a hierarchy that has been put into place. And so some people have to tumble down to a mere millionaire or something. No, I can't be a billionaire. I can only be a multi-millionaire. I don't like it. I need more control. They think they can like transcend something because they have accrued the most points in the U.S. financial game. But someday, hopefully, without catastrophe, but hopefully, we can see that this obvious game of numbers should be relegated to just that. A frivolous thing that you opt into to have fun. You can gamble, you can buy stuff you don't need, you can, go have fun. I don't mind if capitalism or markets in general, because it wouldn't be capitalism. I don't mind if markets in general are just a fun place we go hang out, because I like the idea of having a little point system and going and buying stuff. I like it, but not when your survival is at stake. And I don't think we should couple those things. Easy to undo. We can have our cake and eat it too. It's very simple. It's a matter of just available resources, and we have all of that.
It would switch up and everything would be about Islam and your Islamophobia, and how the real issues that the city of New York is facing is the fact that we don't treat Muslims very good. And of course, Zohar Mamdani ended up taking it a step further, making the case that Muslims, and we're not talking about Muslims that were in the Twin Towers, but Muslims in general, were the real victims of the September 11th attacks.
Why is this they try to twist that? So instead of hearing like, hey, Islamophobia is a problem, they go, no, they were the actual victims of 9/11. How about 9/11 was one day that happened, and the subsequent cleanup essentially is part of that, that had incredible political ripples that aren't just about who died? It's broader than that. I think your minds are too slim. Yes, how about there are more than one kind of victim? How about the severity to which you are a victim is also different for each individual? Some people died immediately. Some people had to jump out of the buildings. Who's more of a victim? I think the jumper more of a victim than the person who died instantly in the plane. Not a victim, definitely a victim, deserved not to do that. So are we splitting hairs here? So I think 20 fucking plus years later, we could acknowledge that, hey, this exacerbated community-wide Islamophobia in obvious ways that can be addressed and still ripple through clearly right fucking now, even though you barely fucking remember it.
Because of all the evil white racism that crawled up out of every rock in order to condemn them, because how dare you ever say anything about Islam when the topic is Islamic terror? But
I totally disagree. It's not about saying anything against Islam. No one's critiquing, no one's out here going, Zohar Mamdani, I'm an atheist, and I would like you to provide evidence for your claim that Allah is the one true God. And, no one's doing that. You're going, I don't know. The implication of you being a Muslim is that you're a suicide bomber. It's not very tongue-in-cheek. That's pretty much what it always is. The implication, you wearing a hijab? Do you got a bomb strapped to you? It's that fucking thin. It's just fucking racism. It just is. I got woke because I dated an Arab girl post 9/11 and saw what she dealt with. People were really fucking shitty. Even people that I like and love were accidentally shitty. I've told this story before, but it's a great time to tell. Post 9/11, this is many years ago, maybe not even a decade post 9/11, or maybe just about. We were at a family function with my ex. She's an Arab woman, and she was just hanging out. She's an atheist, but her dad wasn't. They fled the Desert Storm situation. My cousin, who is older than me by like a couple decades, asked like about that relationship, and they talked for a little bit, and then she goes, "Oh, is he a Muslim?" Her dad, and she goes, "Yeah." My cousin goes, "Oh, but one of the good ones though, right?" It was just like she defaulted to, well, because my girlfriend isn't bombing the family gathering and isn't saying she's going to commit jihad, then obviously her father is not doing that either. It was you could just see the two pings of brain cells that were happening, and it's just like, man, I remember that vividly. And so, I mean, I'm in my fucking early 20s. I don't even know what wokeness is yet. They're not even mad about it yet. But that and that's just one example. I mean, it happened all the time. She also got misconstrued for a Mexican person and got called racial slurs like that a lot, more than I've experienced. So it felt like a lot. Not as much as my any of my friends that are black have ever gone through, though. I mean, I still think with all this conversation of like the other kinds of racism that happen to other cultures, man. Just the shit that it's just constant. Every day the radiation of racism just ripples through everything. It's so weird to like realize how other white people act until you like, are there and aware of it.
Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break down this whole entire speech, the lies that he's already been caught in. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via...
Oh my God, we're already doing an ad.
My uncle pulled me aside. He smiled softly and looked at me with care. In a quiet voice, he told me I did not have to tell people I was Muslim.
Dude, we're 2.5 minutes in, and I could have started the fucking video here because he's just repeated himself.
His eyes kind, his beard proud, and his face heavy with the implication of the unsaid. I had not learned the lesson that he had been taught, time and again. It is the lesson that safety could only be found in the shadows of our city. That it is in those shadows alone where Muslims could embrace the fullness of our own identities. And that if we are to emerge from them, then it is in those shadows where we must leave our faith. These are lessons that so many Muslim New Yorkers have been taught.
So if you spend any time around these topics on the internet.com, somebody in your comments will definitely 100% at some point bring up the taqiyya, which is a concept in Islam where Muslims are permitted to lie and conceal their faith in order to, not get persecuted or something of the sort. Now,
are you being conspiratorial right now?
oftentimes when people leave these comments, what they're actually saying is that Muslims are lying in order to appear that they're assimilating into the countries that they're in until eventually they gain enough power in order to implement their agenda. So
yes, the answer is yes. This is the Jews control everything, but instead it's a twist. The Muslims are trying. Just super racism. I don't watch him very much because he's just a fucking dumbass. You can see that he doesn't have literally any brain cells. There must be something about the way he communicates and the way he puts out videos consistently, because right-wingers, I mean, they don't love this guy, but I mean, he's got success on YouTube to the extent that it's probably his job, right? So like, especially with Patreon and stuff, right-wingers just have these, they don't even realize it, right? Like, they have these talking points and they don't understand that they're just fed this stuff. Like, this all came down the pipe to him. Zoran Mamdani goes mascot. Like, you're just being told to say this stuff, but he doesn't even he's not even really cognizant that this is like downstream from Fox News's push for months. He won't acknowledge this. He'll just be like, yes, I have noticed this.
So I do find it interesting that what Mamdani is describing right here is something that is put upon Muslims externally, even though, again, this is directly drawn from their faith. It is a tactic that they deploy. And again, in the best reading of this particular tactic, it is something that permits Muslims, in order to shield themselves, to avoid oppression from the majority group. But again, Mamdani's like, this is just a lesson that you have to learn in the city of New York, such an evil white racist place filled with evil white racism, because, oh my God, it's been...
He didn't say any of that. Are you going to, the stance here is that you're having to defend is that you don't think Islamophobia is bad in New York City? Like, do you think Islamophobia is a real thing? Probably not, right? He would just reject the premise. You don't think people are just racist towards Muslims irrationally? He thinks it's rational because he's Islamophobic. Like in New York City, where 9/11 occurred, have you ever heard about that? I would imagine it's probably one of the worst places for this social phenomenon to occur, right? You would expect it, Christians lie all the time. Well, of course, but he doesn't give a fuck. He thinks the sneaky Muslims are trying to bomb him. That's what he's literally just race baiting.
So terrible for Muslims post-September 11th, which again should lead me to play this Norm Macdonald clip because it's absolutely timeless, fits perfectly right here, because this is essentially what Mamdani is saying.
I can't say my friend's name, but he said his biggest fear is that ISIS or some terrorist group like that will get a hold of a dirty bomb and explode it over a major city within the United States and kill tens of millions of people. Because then the blowback against innocent Muslims would be absolutely terrible.
Yes, that's right.
That's true.
Honestly, Norm, you're gone too soon. Your words of wisdom are absolutely as sage now as they were when you said them. And
This is just like the book I'm reading where the U.S. blows up the world to preempt Iran doing it. Yeah. Did we listen to the same clip? I don't think so.
by the way, this is a ridiculous, absurd concept that we see play out time and time again. Every single time there's an Islamic terror attack in the United States of America or in the Western world, somehow we end up on the topic of, guess what? Islamophobia. Muslims most impacted. It doesn't matter who gets hurt, who gets killed, what stupid portion of their ideology ended up motivating that particular attack.
There are more Christian terrorist attacks in the United States than Muslim ones. What is he even thinking of? What crimes has he really been bothered with in the last 25 years?
The issue always becomes, the conversation always turns to,
It's just 9/11? Never forget to remember 9/11.
the victimization of Muslims by backlash from the majority population after the fact.
These are lessons that so many Muslim New Yorkers have been taught.
I also reject this notion, by the way, that this is a lesson that so many Muslim New Yorkers have been taught. Again,
Why? How would you know? You're not one. What do you mean? How would you not? How would you know what lessons they do or do not learn? What?
a city that Mamdani immigrated to, he chose to become a citizen in this nation.
Is the whole video a response to this 30-second commercial?
Even though, again, according to his own mother, he doesn't really consider himself an American, doesn't care about America. He considers himself more of a citizen of the world. But the idea that we have become...
Well, yeah, me too. I consider myself more of a Michigander than an American. I would, like, yeah, the world is like a place we all live. I don't know. You're just not highbrow enough. I don't know why I have to why do I have to identify so heartily with America? Why does that fucking matter? Isn't it American as fuck to not give a shit? You must be a patriot in America. That's anti-American, frankly. The most American thing we could do is not give a fuck. Who gives a shit if you're patriotic?
Become so big.
This is too bright, by the way. I need dark mode.
Against Muslims in the United States of America and in New York City in particular.
I had a bright camera day in my dark room. So when he does full whiteout like that, I'm just get blasted.
Is absurd in every possible way. And in fact, when you look at the polling data, what you ultimately end up discovering is that approval of Muslims actually went up after 9/11, not down. And the reason for this, and if you guys are old enough to remember the post 9/11 messaging, is that you had Republicans, specifically in the Bush administration, going out of their way to bend over backwards to talk about peaceful Muslims, a religion of peace, and how Muslims would be our greatest ally in the war on terror. This was the messaging, and guess what? It absolutely worked. So much so that the greatest attack on this nation in the history of our country, September 11th, which was perpetuated by Islamist terrorists, actually led to an increase in acceptance and approval of Muslims. In addition to that, people end up pulling up the hate crime incidents against Muslims in the United States of America, and what you ultimately end up realizing is that there are very few
instances, almost none, obvious spike, and he's like, well, that's all, that should be. And now we have a background radiation of much higher than before, and this only goes to 2010 when it spikes. I guarantee you, I guess I have to look it up. Let's see if we can find Muslim hate crimes after the Trump administration, and if they go up. Do you think they do? Also, does this count Sikh and Indian people who white racists think are Muslim? No, it only counts if you are actually Muslim and you get hate crime. It doesn't count if racists mistake you. Since the 2017 inauguration with Donald Trump, it has gone up. 2023, a 6-year-old Muslim boy stabbed 26 times in his home in Illinois in an anti-Muslim attack. His mother was also stabbed, though she survived. These are just key events. Obviously, Donald Trump shit. Hate crimes against Muslims reached their highest level since immediately following September 11th attacks in 2015 and 2016. Many attribute this to the ongoing fears of terrorism, anti-Muslim. Literally, if you're able to show past 2010, when Trump gets in office, you can already see the rise coming, and you know why you stopped. I guess what you're counting on, and you can count on it, is definitely that your fucking right-wing gang isn't going to check it out. Oh, look at that. We got up to 2016 on this one. Uh-oh. That 2010 mark. 63, 55, 55, 58, 56, 91, 127. Whoa, it just gets higher. I wonder if it kept going, what you would see. I wonder if we could get further into the Trump administration, what you would see. Higher than 2001. He's like, yeah, but that's 9/11. Higher. Higher. Great job. Actual justice warrior? More like edited justice warrior? Does he still get to be a warrior?
Instances of this actually occurring. And in fact, Jewish Americans experience way more religiously motivated hate incidents. And I also want to point out,
No, they don't. They just literally don't.
that in the books for both of these numbers are reported instances. So when they turn out to be a hoax, a la the girl that said that her hijab was burned in the middle of Manhattan, who was actually afraid of her own father because she was staying out too late, those are counted in the group of reports. So even with the hoaxes, it is not that many crimes. And yet Mamdani is saying, oh my God, it's just so hard to be a Muslim in the city of New York. It's just so sad that after a crazy group of Muslims perpetuated a terror attack on this city, destroyed the Twin Towers, some of the most iconic buildings in the history of the city, on the darkest day in this country's history.
Dude, it was the darkest day in this country's history. We have the fucking Civil War, dude. I don't know. Like, the entirety of the Civil War way darker than the fucking 9/11.
Or at least one of the darkest days, the acceptance of Muslims doubled in this city, doubled in this country, and that is just so sad. You white people, so bigoted. And by the way, this is what people find disgusting about these people who come to this country. They don't care about this nation. They want to rip down our statues, a la Mamdani.
He's so worked up. He wants to rip down your statues. I mean, it definitely depends on the statue. Some statues could definitely be ripped down. That's fine. The Civil War Confederate traitors, fine with ripping those down. Reconstruction was incomplete.
Saying that we should rip down the Christopher Columbus statue. They want to
definitely, yeah.
desecrate our culture. And
Our culture? Christopher Columbus? Didn't he go back home in shackles? He's a fucking rapist and a criminal, dude.
then they call us bigots for not accepting them. Again, don't have
Are you Italian? I didn't know you were into spaghetti like that.
any problem with Muslims. I've said on this channel time and time again that Americans are incredibly lucky in that the Muslim population that is here is one of the most chill Muslim populations across the entire world. And this is because in the United States of America, we have a concept of becoming an American, of welcoming people in. And by the way, Muslim migration went
Of welcoming people in? How can you... this guy's pro-ICE, anti-immigration. Of welcoming people in. He talks out of both sides of his mouth, bro.
up through the roof post 9/11 due to the fact that again, we were trying to emphasize more compassion, more love, and a separation between Islamic extremists and regular ordinary Muslims post 9/11. That is...
Yeah, but that's not what you're doing. You're saying Zohran Mamdani, who is exactly the kind of Muslim that white people find delightsome. Mamdani is all the things you want to accept, of course, doesn't agree with you politically. Because the Muslims that agree with you politically are pro-Sharia, for the record. Like, the Muslims you're scared of, that you mostly align with you. Of course you don't like Zohran, but he isn't the guy you're saying in the other direction. Columbus is only celebrated due to Italian Americans pushing the narrative to build goodwill among people so that they could combat anti-Italian hate. Columbus is a grift, and he sucked.
Been the strategy in this nation all along, but Mamdani is pretending that it's not, and that he needs to lecture all of us about morality, which I find even more repugnant because this guy wrote an entire little piece about how he didn't want to intervene or join any organizations to fight sex crimes in Egypt, and the reason for that is because he felt like it was not good for a foreigner to be lecturing them about their society. So when it comes to sex crimes in Egypt, Mamdani has nothing to say, but when
he's a New York City Council person. I agree that Zohran Mamdani isn't going to go solve Egypt's sex crimes. Not his lane? Assemblyman, my bad. City Council? Why is that his purview, I guess? He doesn't care because he didn't go fix Egypt's sex crime problem. I didn't even know that was something I had to expect from him. I don't know why he thinks that that's compelling. It's astonishing. Never mind. He's just going to keep yapping.
in this foreign country, he wants to undermine every single one of our values here. Disgusting, repugnant, ridiculous, and again, the Sadiq Khan playbook through and through.
Okay. I don't agree with your assertion. I think you're just mad he's winning. Oh no, he's winning.
And again. And over these last few days, these are the lessons that have become the closing message of Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Eric Adams. Yesterday, Andrew Cuomo laughed and agreed when a radio show host said that I would cheer another 9/11.
So look, that sounds awful, and if this was unprompted, it might even sound a bit bigoted, but the fact is, Zohran Mamdani is close allies with Cenk's nephew, somebody who said America deserved 9/11.
It's all Hassan bait. Yeah. And Hassan was definitely involved in 9/11 as well, because, as you know, every Muslim...
It sounds a bit bigoted, but the fact is, Zohran Mamdani...
This may sound a bit bigoted.
...is close...
But... yeah. This is damning evidence. I have some damning evidence as well. Okay, ready? If this should ruin his shit. Okay, are you ready? You're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this, but it's time. It's time, actual justice warrior, to take your medicine. It's Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. All right, who do you think are better buddies? Who do you think are better buddies? I'm gonna be honest. These guys are much closer to each other and look much gayer. These look manlier. Beards, clean shaven like babies. His cock is basically in his hand. He's touching him intimately. They can smell each other right now. He's leaning in as if just before the camera was on, they were cuddling closer and smooching. Their lips are wet. Dry lips. They're both beautiful and in shape. I think neither of them really were. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein couldn't even fight off his attacker and then stop from being hung by Hillary Clinton.
Allies with Cenk's nephew, somebody who said America deserved 9/11. And even though on the debate stage, he fake disavowed him when he was prompted by Governor Cuomo.
The Assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The Assemblyman will not denounce Hassan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11.
And I find the comments that Hassan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible.
He just did an event the other
Easy. I think that's totally fine. I don't care. Just get past it. Don't even quibble about it. It's reprehensible. Done. It's a useless topic to talk about, whether or not Hassan Piker said something. Who cares?
day. And guess who was invited to...
But they're both Muslims. They both come from Muslim culture, so they must be guilty. Are you attracted to him? There's a lot of pictures of his son to collect. Okay.
that particular event. Cenk's nephew. This is a sign of agreement. This is a sign that he's perfectly fine with him because now he has publicly come out against something that he said. He can't pretend that he's unaware of it, and yet he brought him in. So to me...
Do you think, okay, maybe Hassan is capable of letting a disagreement occur and not being a big fucking baby? Not being a big fucking baby about it?
Not a stretch at all whatsoever that a guy who pals around with somebody who supports multiple designated terrorist organizations
This is the dumbest.
and believes that America deserved 9/11. And by the way, didn't really apologize for that. He just went on with his uncle and basically said English isn't his first language as his excuse, if you guys will remember.
But you understand now, and not just now, but you understood fairly soon after you said it, that saying Americans deserve 9/11 is a completely different statement and one that's wrong.
No, I didn't say Americans deserve 9/11. I said America deserves 9/11.
But that's
and
still
in that
wrong.
Moment, well, maybe you can chalk it up to English being my second language or whatever you want to chalk it up to.
So when you appear with that
That's not what he's saying. I love the clip here. I love that. You can chalk it up if you want, and he doesn't even say that. He goes on to explain. I guarantee you what he goes on to explain is that the institution of America, the government of America, committed crimes against Afghanistan and other Middle Eastern countries, and they definitely mistreated those people during their proxy war with Russia near the end of the Cold War, when they're doing like Apache missiles, you know, taking down the fucking helicopters and shit. They left those people to fucking rot, and then they just get bombed to smithereens. They get their shit partitioned. Colonialist enterprises from all the fucking European and white countries. American bombs with our fucking flag on them after, killing their kids and shit. When he says America deserved 9/11, it's a harsher thing. It's a harsher way to put it than I put it. I think America caused 9/11. It doesn't happen without American intervention in those things. And, those were choices made. And really, when I say America, war hawks within our government, not even the whole of America. Certainly no citizens made any decisions or deserve any of it. So, yeah, I mean, the victims of 9/11 are 100% victims of Al-Qaeda and also the American government that didn't prevent it, that didn't do anything to, didn't really help in the aftermath in the ways that they should. None of those people have health care. We have to be worried. We have to be worried about what Hassan says, though. We can't vote for Zoran. Too late, buddy. You're just whining at this point.
that guy multiple times and invite him to your events and then complain that people start to think that maybe you're aligned with that individual, I don't give a damn about your hurt feelings over somebody laughing about it.
Yesterday, Eric Adams said that we can't let our city become Europe. He compared me to violent extremists, and he lied when he said that our movement seeks to burn churches and destroy communities.
Again, the problems in Europe are in fact real. What Mamdani's doing right here is trying to pin all criticism of him and of Muslims as Islamophobia, and that is...
It was definitely Islamophobia when Eric Adams said that he's going to turn New York into Europe. You're just wrong, man.
exactly what they do in Europe in order to cover up rampant Islamic crime. So I got no problems with what Eric Adams said. Now, Mamdani has not...
Because you're Islamophobic. You are... Every time you're like, no, I'm not doing that, and then you do the thing Zoran is saying is what you're doing, and like I don't know why this video has been made. Why are you here just to agree with him? You don't realize you're doing it because you're too stupid. This is every time I've ever interacted with this guy, it's just been the dumbest shit. He is so stupid. That's my takeaway every time I watch this guy is he is a dumb man.
Explicitly said, as far as I know, that he wants to burn churches, but make no mistake about it, he has called for the removal of historical American monuments, the destruction of our culture. He probably wants to replace it with something else, and in reality, I think
our culture? We don't share a culture, buddy. Sorry. We have pieces of culture for sure. Geographically speaking, Americans don't have the same culture at all. We just don't. We don't even all watch the same TV. So we don't have all the same like cultural touchstones. There's a fracture politically because of the way that you and other people have been just like taken by the right-wing slop. Like it just drips into your brain and you're just uncritically accept it. And I don't know. Christians in it, mostly.
that is also a fair critique. Again, stand up to these people, because Islamophobia, as I believe Christopher Hitchens said, is a word used by fascists in order to control stupid people.
Christopher Hitchens was pro the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. I have big disagreements with him on this topic. I don't have different disagreements with him on how he feels about like the veracity of the religions. I do think he is Islamophobic for sure.
And we are not playing along with Mamdani's game.
The day before that,
he was a bit of a racist.
Curtis Lewa slandered me from a debate stage when he claimed that I supported global jihad.
So again, we have Mamdani pretending that he has no idea where any of this stuff is coming from. He's like, Curtis Lewa slandered me on the debate stage by saying I support global jihad. And make no mistake about it, in the second debate,
is he going to say the globalize the Intifada thing? Is it going to be funny?
this 100% did occur. However, Curtis Lewa was very likely referencing the fact that Zorhan Mamdani
Zorhan. He's been saying it wrong the whole time, by the way.
Used to condemn calls to globalize the Intifada multiple different times, and he accidentally said jihad instead of Intifada. Again, Mamdani never addresses the substance of the issue. He's always dodging and deflecting, and in that regard, this is a perfectly reasonable statement to have. By the way, I will also point out,
it's personally reasonable to say that he supports a global jihad. I just disagree. I think this is falling on deaf ears. This is just literally the right wing flailing. It's just going to be more of this for the rest of it.
That while Mamdani is pretending that, oh, there's just...
Can we even finish this video?
No rational basis to think that I support terrorism or anything of the sort. If you guys will recall
so
the shooting
bad
of those 2 Israeli embassy workers in Washington, D.C., there was actually a post by the DSA that Zohar Mamdani is a dues-paying member to about how we need to free the shooter in that particular case, somebody who yelled Free Palestine after he executed those 2 individuals because they considered him to be a political prisoner.
Palestinian struggle to save the spirit is I don't even know. Excellent statement that we are proud to add our name, Free Elias Rodriguez. Okay, now I gotta look it up. Elias Rodriguez. Seen pacing outside the museum before fired at close range. Had the couple firing at least 20 rounds. Continued to shoot even after the victor's fallen. Reloaded his weapon, executed Milgram as she tried to crawl away. Milgram. The Israeli embassy staff. I remember this. Yaron Lachinsky and Sarah Milgram were a couple. German-Israeli staff members of the Israeli embassy. Elias Rodriguez, a 30-year-old Chicago man, was arrested. He pulled out a red keffiyeh and chanted, Free, Free Palestine, and was taken into custody. Initial reports state that Rodriguez had no prior contact with police. He was briefly associated with the left-wing Party for Socialism and Liberation. Journalist Ken Klippenstein published Rodriguez's alleged manifesto, in which he writes, Those of us against the genocide take satisfaction in arguing that the perpetrators and abettors have forfeited their humanity, but ultimately concludes humanity doesn't exempt one from accountability. I mean, I don't really disagree. Let's see the legal proceedings. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. While the first-degree murder charges were filed as a violation of the Code of Conduct, it does not have a capital punishment. According to Janine Pirro, the suspect appeared in court on May 22nd was informed, she's a TV person, was informed by a judge that if he is convicted, he may face life imprisonment or the death penalty. That Pirro said it was far too early to decide. DOJ said it's a federal hate crime, that they'll be seeking death penalty. Rodriguez pleaded not guilty. So this is Zohar Mamdani's fault? I think this kind of violence just helps Israel. Typically, they go, see, like it's just not. I don't know how involved were Yachinsky and stuff. I just don't think it's like effective. So yeah.
Who yelled Free Palestine after he executed those 2 individuals because they considered him to be a political prisoner.
So what about the Republican that wore that crazy mask and executed those Democrats? Do you care about that in their home and their dog, by the way? Do you care about that? I think those balance out. That's a wash now. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to balance the scales. Every time you think up something that is bad, I'm going to show you a right-winger doing it. Okay? We have to make more wholesome arguments than a bad thing happened. So therefore, this guy's politics are bad. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about how Zohar Mamdani gives these people money? The people that, again, are calling somebody who committed a double murder at some Jewish event or Israeli event of 2 Israeli embassy workers in the United States of America, a political prisoner? Or can we talk about that? Can we discuss that? Or is that Islamophobia as well?
And every day, Super PAC ads imply that I'm a terrorist or mock the way I eat.
Again, Mamdani pretends like this is just coming out of nowhere. The guy has gotten himself filmed multiple times, digging his hands into rice and then shoving it into his face, getting spit all over his fingers, and then...
Oh my fucking God. This is racism, man. This is what racism is. You eat a sandwich with your fucking fingers. You eat fucking chicken wings. You eat a fucking burrito. You eat a piece of pizza. You ever eat a pizza and you go, oh, you eat your pasta or something? Fuck off. It's so lazy. Just fucking racism. R.I.P. ribs, yeah. It's different because it's rice? No? Any snack food? Oh, candy? Yeah. I literally have pretzels right here. Look at how disgusting I am. Look at how, oh, it's so disgusting. My hands are all over it. Oh. So stupid, bro. How is this less spitty than a spoon? I get my spitty spoon, spitty, use a spoon in there, scoop it up. I stir the spoon around one time, spit everywhere. How's it less spitty? I just don't understand. You're icked by it because you use utensils on everything. Apparently. He cuts a fucking pizza with a fork and knife, this guy.
Digging it right back into the rice. And I know some people have decided that they're going to play dumb.
Yeah, I guess he just doesn't wash his hands after he shits. That's my assumption. He has glasses because he just has chronic pink eye. Hands are for saluting the flag and nothing else.
Play stupid about this and say, oh, well, you eat burgers and pizza with your hands. You eat all sorts of designated...
You eat all sorts of designated what?
Finger foods with your hand. How is
finger foods? The foods that we eat with our fucking hands.
Eating rice any different? And obviously, it is 100% different. It's
obviously
absolutely disgusting. It's also unusual. And yes, you should be...
It's not. This is so normal. What are you talking about? When I eat Indian food, you take the bread, you get like the curry and stuff, you get the rice, you eat it, you eat it. Sushi, great example. Sometimes I eat sushi with my hands. God says rice needs utensils. It's in the Bible. Yeah, this is just stupid racism. He's got clean hands. He's got people all around. This is just fine. I don't give a fuck. Pakoras. This guy, I mean, it's just racism. Go get a spoon or a fucking fork, a little plastic fork. I would rather use my hands than a little plastic fork for this rice, frankly. These suck for that.
Made fun of for doing weird and unusual and unsanitary things. Make no mistake about it. Also, I will point out that...
Disagree it's unsanitary? To eat with your hands? With your fucking hands? It's your hands!
Many Americans make the mistake of eating rice with a fork, and while a fork could work for rice, I mean, it's not exactly the best tool humanly possible, the fact is the Southeast Asians have this 100% right. And no, they don't use chopsticks, they use spoons. Again, hang out with any Filipino, and what they end up having is a spoon in one hand and a fork in another hand, and that is because a spoon is an optimal device in order to use rice. Again,
You're just going to argue it's an it's an optimal device. What if I don't want to be optimal? Let's just steel man it. Let's say it's optimal. And optimal is just I can shovel it into my face fast. What if I don't want to eat it like that? Eat shit. I have Filipino relatives. He's just wrong.
Here on the Actual Justice Warrior channel, keep it real 100% of the time, unlike anyone else. And in reality, if another country is...
I keep it real unlike anyone else? Chat, what if my tolerance for this guy has faded? What if it's over? What if we just like fucking abort him? He wouldn't like this. I think he would be against it. What if I keep it real and I just go like, ugh, should have been aborted, you know? What if we just end it right there? The editor don't care. What if the editor just goes, look, this is the end of the video, because he's not saying anything. He's just being racist. He's offering nothing but, hey, you can't vote for this guy's policies. He likes rice with his fingies. Couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck.